¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Aquí estamos con World of Winter.
There's something special about winter in Grand Rapids. It's not just the glow from the lights of the Blue Bridge or the art and murals all over downtown. It's the energy you feel from our community coming together, finding warmth in the chill of the season. This festival is a reminder of the beauty in our everyday lives, in our city, in each other. Makes us appreciate the magic we have with Grand Rapids, with winter, and with the true special moments in life.
If there wasn't the World of Winter Festival, it would be so cold and so miserable. It gets dark at 5 o'clock. Like, we Midwesterners like to boast how strong we are for being in the winter, but I think World of Winter makes it that much brighter and much more bearable.
It's amazing that World of Winter is now the largest winter festival in North America. That really helps put Grand Rapids on the map.
Una idea magnífica, porque si no, al final la gente se queda en casa y como que entra un poco en estado de depresión casi, ¿no? De estar siempre en casa porque hace frío, y creo que animarte a salir y a interactuar con otra gente y con arte y con la comunidad es muy importante.
Honestly, the set and setting is unlike any place I've really gotten the opportunity to play before. Being on the riverbank and, on this hillside, I'm surrounded by all these beautiful people and, art going on.
It's shockingly cool to be free for everyone. I mean, there's just so much amazing art installations and activities for the family and for DJs, and just so much cool stuff happening all the time.
It's all about placemaking, placekeeping, and really what that focuses on is making memories and a connection with your downtown.
I think we always strive to continue to make it as inclusive and diverse as possible. We want to be bringing events and activities and programming that is going to be for everybody, that somebody can come down and they can find something, that they will make those memories, have fun with their friends, and maybe meet new people.
It being now the largest festival in the U.S., one is just a real credit to our team, and two, a real credit to the Grand Rapids community and everybody that comes to show that we care about this stuff. When you see it over 2 months and you see all these different events and you see all this amazing artwork, it really encapsulates everything we do here, or everything we're striving to do.
I think this is a real opportunity for Grand Rapids to embrace winter and just roll with it and have fun and get out and enjoy it in a new way.
It's a wrap on another World of Winter Festival. Grand Rapids shines every season. Thank you to everyone who made this event possible this year. World of Winter will return in 2025. Until then, keep showing love wherever we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Activate Grants 101, which is an informational course about the Activate Grants that are currently open for World of Winter 2025. My name is Katie Moore, and I am the Activation Manager for Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc., which means that I get to help produce events and run our grant program and lots of other fun stuff that brings people downtown. So what is Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc.? Also known as DGRI, is a nonprofit that partners with the city to help make downtown more exciting. So we do everything from work with the ambassadors, develop parks, work on streetscapes, assist local businesses with their promotion and marketing. So all across the board, doing fun stuff that makes downtown a great place to be. So What is World of Winter? I know we're in the middle of summer, but we are deep in planning World of Winter. So it is actually the largest winter festival in the United States. Last year, we saw over 4.5 million visitors over the duration of the festival, and we hosted 300 art installations, events, and programs. So really the way World of Winter works is we do an open call for large-scale artworks from all over the world that kind of anchor the event. And then we also program beyond that with local artists and creatives, partially through this Activate Grant program. And then we host events every weekend. So there's something fresh, there's something new that goes along with the art that's there for the duration of the festival. So we have more information on the festival as a whole at worldofwinter.org. Some important dates to note are July 26, 2024 is when any questions you might have about this grant are due to me at kmore@downtowngr.org. That just gives me a little bit of time to answer everything before the deadline for applications, which is midnight on August 9th. And then there is a typo in the form online, but the actual date will notify you if you received the grant or didn't receive the grant would be September 1st. And then depending on your project, and I'll get into more what this means with the review process, but potentially we'd need to do a review and kind of have everything wrapped up location and art-wise in either September or October. And then the festival itself runs from January 10th to March 2nd of 2025. And so this is a little different than the summer Activate grant that we run in that if you do have like a sculptural installation, we like that to be up for the duration of the event. So kind of consider January 10th when your desired installation date to have everything complete would be. And then if you're doing an event or a kind of pop-up activation, really think anytime between January 10th and March 2nd. And then we take everything out by the end of March 2025. So Activate grants are intended to fund temporary public activations and up to $10,000. And so this is a pretty good level to do some cool stuff, but we understand that this is not going to fund the next Calder. So if you do want to do something larger, we encourage you to seek alternate funding as well, or in-kind donations. And then if you are thinking, oh, I want to do one of these large sculptures for World of Winter, as I mentioned, that timeline has closed, but for 2026, keep an eye out in early 2025 for that to open back up again. So we run 2 opportunities a year. So this is the World of Winter one. And really, sky's the limit on what you can propose for this program. The more creative, the better. Art, design, events, sculpture, site-specific installation, lighting, vinyl. I'll get into some great examples of work we funded in the past later in the presentation. And the main thing is activations must be open and free to the public and appropriate for all audiences because we are publicly funded. And there's more information about what that means in the activation packet. We also fund events, as I mentioned. So if you're proposing an event, it just needs to adhere to the Office of Special Events, the OSC, their rules. And so they have a planning and resource guide that's super helpful on their website. And that kind of walks you through anything you would need for an event and everything you got to think of. So it's really helpful to get in there and go through that. And then we also offer an event management program. We will have another session this year, but those dates are still being determined. So keep an eye on our website and social media for more information about that. But it's a free program and it covers event production on public property and how to plan your vision for an event. We also offer a seasonal event and programming grant, which is between October and April. So this would not be for World Winter specific, but if you have another idea, check that out as well. So the way I like to kind of get started when I'm thinking about or telling people how to think about grants is to look at our district and find the right location for the project. You know, if you need to anchor into the ground, you're going to be in a park. But really the sky's the limit as far as where you can go, as long as you have permission of the property owner or the city. So to tell who owns the property or if it's public or private, I recommend checking out the Kent County GIS. And that is a parcel mapper that you plug in the address and it'll show you if the city owns it, then it's going to be public property. And if it's owned by someone else, it's likely private. And that'll give you a way to know who to contact as well. We want to make sure everything is ADA accessible and open to the public, so that mostly dictates it needs to be outdoors. But there are opportunities, to activate windows or buildings that's you can still see from the outside at all times. If you are looking at a historic building or like underpass, those do require a deeper level of permission. Not impossible, but just something to keep in mind. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the Arts Advisory Council will need to review anything on public property. So the Arts Advisory Council is a mix of kind of city staff and art experts that review content, safety, and all of that to make sure everything is in compliance. Something else to think about and that we ask in the application is what kind of materials you're using, especially with World of Winter. Winter can be challenging. We're up against snow, ice, wind. Last year we had flooding. So really thinking through what the best material will be to be durable during that time period. It's totally doable, and we've had a lot of really creative ways people have approached that. But it does sometimes require a little workshopping and maybe coming back out and troubleshooting. So just keep that in mind. Public engagement. People love to touch things. And sometimes they're nicer than others. So just keep in mind how, someone will be interacting with the artwork itself. And be really creative with your materials. There's so much stuff out there now. Doing a lot of research, just heading to Home Depot and looking around, talking to other artists, seeing how things are built is always really helpful. And be open to change. If you get the grant and you start fleshing stuff out and realizing, oh, this isn't going to work the way I thought it was going to, we're totally okay with that, and we understand, and we'll help you as much as possible. Weight, lighting, and electricity are other things to keep in mind. As some of the bridges, there's weight limits. If you want to use lighting, which we recommend for World of Winter, make sure there's electricity nearby. Maybe go test that outlet. Budget. So we do ask for a high-level budget as part of the application, and this is really going to be unique to every project in person. It's up to $10,000, but if you're planning on doing something smaller, anywhere in there is fine. We just want to see kind of how you're breaking out the money and how you're thinking about things. It's also a really good exercise to kind of think through everything you're going to need for the installation and everything that will go into the project itself, and can bring up, answer some questions you might have. And don't forget to pay yourself, of course, as part of this. And think about, if you're going to have to rent equipment or how you're going to transport the sculpture or project to the site, where you're going to need help putting it together and maintaining it. And then I always recommend that, as I mentioned, things do happen. So having a little money set aside for contingency and maintenance after the project's installed. So some examples of successful past projects we funded over the last few years through the Activate Grant Program. This was a piece that was very successful last year. It's 4 Directions by Two Eagles Marcus. And so this is a wonderful example of how to use, kind of a really basic material. There's just these little shipping containers, and they're made of plastic, but the way he assembled them and added lighting, and he actually ended up composing his own music that went with the piece. So you can really get creative and do something impactful and large with pretty basic materials. And this is another rendering of it. The lights changed throughout as part of the show as well. Look at Me Like You Love Me is a piece that's up right now at the Grand Rapids Art Museum by artist Jess T. Dugan. I'm showing this because it's a great example about how if you don't have a ton of experience doing traditional public art of sculpture or installation, you can do photography, painting, whatever your medium is, and blow it up on vinyl and install it, in windows around town. An artist last year also did that for World of Winter on one of the parking structures, and she did little skeletons climbing up the structure, and it was really successful. Hipster Disco is an example of an event we funded in the past. I think something to keep in mind when you're wanting to propose an event is we really like to see you activate a space that isn't normally activated. So like Calder Plaza, Rose Park Circle, we see a lot of events on there. Hipster Disco proposed to do this event in an alleyway and really transform the space. There's a mural in there. They used that, lighting, disco balls. They had a dance party. It was super fun, and it was definitely out of their wheelhouse for doing something in the winter, but they pulled it off and were able to partner with the apartment lounge. It was a great activation. Starlight by Valerie Wana is now at DeVos Place in the front, but this is where it was installed for World of Winter 2 years ago. Valerie hired someone she created the design and then hired someone to fabricate the steel, and then really just placed a high-powered light in the center, and it created this beautiful piece that really worked with the location. Fun fact, it will be installed in the currently being renovated Lion Square. The Muse Art Pod by Stephen Smith is a great example of how to have a traditional gallery outside. So Stephen altered the shipping container and then had a rotating gallery inside that the doors would be closed and people could see in at any time. And then on the weekends, he would program different events in that space and around it. There was a ballerina. This is an example of a spoken word that he hosted. So a really creative way to, bring this outdoors during the winter. Icicle Lanterns was a piece that Craig Merchant did last year. And this was really clever in how he approached material and location. So he had some issues with some past works of people, engaging maybe a little too much. So he was like, I'm going to hang stuff from the trees, so a little out of reach. And all he did was create these beautiful forms with reclaimed material and LED lights. So you can really make something incredible with just regular materials. Carnivale by Mandy Cano Villalobos is a great example of good lighting that's done really simply. So she created this whole archway with found objects. It was beautiful and just used kind of some icicle string lighting in the center, but it was super effective and made the piece have like a great day and nighttime experience. Some other things to keep in mind, insurance, liability or beyond, something you might want to factor into your budget or see what feels right. For events, usually you do have to carry some sort of insurance. So look into that. It's different for every project and every artist. Activate grants are competitive. So if you don't get one the first time, keep proposing, keep ideating. I'm happy to talk to you after the fact and give feedback. So it doesn't mean your project isn't good. A lot of times it's just, what else is coming in that cycle. Communication is always key through these projects. Better communicate with everyone, the more successful the project is. And we're always willing to work with you on stuff if we know what's going on. And then, as I mentioned earlier, just be open to design changing with public art, any kind of public project. Things happen and they're unexpected, especially with weather. We see a lot of that. So we're open to that. We'll help you through. And failure is sometimes part of the process with anything. As weather in the world of winter time is usually the main thing. So we're wanting to work with you and make a successful project. Some tips for a good proposal and application. Make sure to follow the directions. We're pretty thorough in that application. We love to see evidence of follow through and experience on past projects, even if you haven't necessarily done what you're proposing to do. It's great to show that you've been working on other stuff and what your follow through and experience was with that. Image is so important. If you can create a rendering, that's super helpful for the review committee to be able to really see what you want to do, especially when we're talking about artwork or any kind of visual proposal. So the more you can give us, the better that is. And keeping things organized and concise is always helpful. And as I mentioned, if you don't have the experience, try and demonstrate maybe how you would do that through another project. The requirements are straight from the application, so I won't read through all of these, but as I mentioned, the deadline is August 9th, 2024 at midnight. CV and relative experience is always helpful, and a site map is something that is required, so where you want to place it and how it'll be placed in the area. And once again, if you do get a grant, we do pay half up front and half when the project is completed. So keep that in mind for budgeting as well. And that I will open it up for questions. So let me get over here. Let's see. If you do your art practice in GR but are not a resident, can you still apply? Yes, you may still apply. We primarily focus on local artists, but we do, kind of look at broader Michigan as well if people apply. Let's see, anything else coming in? Let's see, what types of art are you looking for? So especially for World of Winter, keeping in mind that it's dark a lot of the time, having lights or the ability to light up the work is really important. We love to see work that looks great during the day and night. People love interactive or, Two Eagles pieces on the screen right now. Having this light up music element that people can really get into is always really fun. Let's see. Something I didn't cover is how we review the artwork and the applications that come in. So we have a review panel of 3 art experts that are local to Grand Rapids. And they walk through, I put together everyone's application in one big presentation, and we go through each one together and kind of evaluate based on, location, the quality of the work, what it is, and try and curate, a diverse array of projects from the applications that come in, and they rate every single one. And we spend a lot of time, discussing what works best for the event this year. Let's see. Don't seem to be having any other questions right now. Oh, what is the total amount of funding available? So for World of Winter, for this program specifically, it's $100,000, but we also have another, I think it's $50,000 set aside for window activations, which is another program to keep an eye out for too. Those are grants that go to businesses downtown to do activations or displays in their windows. And so they often are partnered with a local artist to make those happen. So if that is something you're interested as an artist too, you can always shoot me an email and say, hey, can I get on a list, to hear more about this opportunity as it comes out. That'll be a little bit later this year. Let's see, for public spaces building, what is the process for partnering with the space? Great question. The process is really getting permission from the owner and collaborating with them. We see this a lot with murals. The artist will go to the building and, say, this is what I want to put on the building. Can I do this? And the building owner say yes or no. And if they say yes, then if it is something permanent like a mural, then we have to take it to the Arts Advisory Council for approval. But something temporary on private property would not have to go through that process. So let's say you wanted to do vinyl on the windows for the duration of the event, you would just need permission from the property owner. Let's see, anything else? Well, if you have further questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm happy to, even talk through a project with you or an idea and see if we can make it happen. So looking forward to all the applications and an exciting World of Winter this year. Thank you.